welcome to the Fourth in Clutch podcast, the best sports podcast you've never heard of until now. This is edition number 4 of the Fourth in Clutch podcast. My name is Darren, one of your hosts. My other host here, my guy Elias, some on this side over here of me. Elias, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, y'all? Excited to bring you guys another show. We have a few new TikToks coming out. Go check those out. The links will be in the description. So yeah, other than that, let's jump into it. And now we got our week 8 predictions coming up for you guys. We'll start off with Darren. We got the Jets versus the Bengals. What do you think about that game?
Bengals a lot to little. The Jets are starting me at quarterback this week, apparently, because they don't know what they're doing. This organization stinks. The Bengals have Joe Flacco, and he's red hot right now with this receiving group of the Bengals. I'm expecting a lot to a little here.
Yeah, I got the Bengals as well against the Jets. I don't know. I just have this feeling that even with Tyrod Taylor, it might bring a little bit more consistent passing to their offense, but they're going without Garrett Wilson yet again this week. Probably just going to keep him out until their bye next week. They don't have any targets. Again, we mentioned this in a video before. They're throwing to me, you, and the homie down the street. They got no down receivers. The Bengals look a lot better with Joe Flacco at the quarterback. They're building momentum. It saved Zach Taylor's job for sure. Definitely. Until they get to December, possibly with maybe a 500 record until Joe Burrow gets back. Yeah, I got Bengals in this one. So next game we got is going to be the Giants versus the Eagles. I'll go first on this one because I know you're going to have something to say on this. I think this is the Eagles' revenge game. The Giants have looked very convincing these last 2 weeks. They should have put it away against the Denver Broncos, but they're an extra point away from the Broncos having to kick a field goal to win it. They should have had to go for a touchdown or a field goal to tie it. Yeah, just an all-time choke job from the Giants, who ended up cutting their kicker. Couldn't tell you his name because it's irrelevant to me. In this game, I got the Eagles whooping that Giants ass. I think this is their revenge game. They're going to show the world and themselves that they should never have competed with the Giants to begin with. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Go Birds. You guys already know what it is over here. Go Birds. Kevin Petula. I still hate you, though, but go Birds. Birds by a lot.
Next game we got is 49ers versus Texans. I'll go first on this one. I got the 49ers winning this one. The Texans look like a hot mess right now. They can't protect CJ Stroud for more than a second. It looks like Nico Collins will be missing this game from the concussion that he suffered in last game. Again, they don't have a whole lot of receiving core to throw to. They have some promising rookies, but they're utilizing the later round picks versus the second round Jaden Higgins picks. I don't know. The 49ers they're just too well coached. They have a great offensive mind, probably one of the best offensive minds in today's game with Shanahan. And then they have a great defensive coordinator in Robert Saleh. Even with their best defensive players down right now, they're still playing good on defense. The offense is still rolling with Mac Jones, which I don't know if Brock Purdy has a chance to come back this week. Regardless, game manager, doesn't matter.
He is starting this week.
Okay, so it's a Mac Jones plus. You paid for the subscription version of Mac Jones. It's not much different. It's just a little bit more consistency, possibly, but I'm expecting 12 plus checkdowns to McCaffrey to save this team and to throw to whatever Walmart receivers they got left. But I got 49ers in this one.
I got the Niners too. There's the better coach team. Kyle Shanahan has his offense moving pretty consistently right now, no matter who's at quarterback. Robert Saleh has his defense playing very hard. I know the Texans have a Super Bowl caliber defense. Just that O-line is so decimated. They don't really have much of a run game. The receiver, they don't really have a receiver outside of Nico Collins, who is, like you said, isn't playing this week. I did expect a lot more out of Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins coming into the season because they were a duo at Iowa State together and they balled out, but it's not translating to the NFL as of right now. For that reason, I still got the Niners in this game.
Yep. And then for the next game, I'll let you go first on this one. We got Bears versus the Ravens with Lamar Jackson coming back possibly. So go ahead and take this one.
I'm going to slightly lean the Bears in this one. I just think Lamar will be coming back with a lot of rust. This offense has been really stagnated lately. I know it's because he hasn't been playing, but Derrick Henry hasn't looked like Derrick Henry behind this whole line either. I just think their defense is still so decimated. I know they're getting a few pieces back on the defense side of the ball, but overall that defense is still missing a lot. And I just think that Ben Johnson will scheme up a great game, especially the way you guys have been using the run game lately. I think you guys will have win the time of possession in this game, and that's what wins you guys this game in particular. I would have this score probably like 24-17 in favor of the Bears, maybe 24-21. But I just think this is a tough team to come back against if you're Lamar Jackson, because Dennis Allen does have this defense playing very, very well right now.
Yeah, and if we can keep this momentum going of the defense, I would love to see the Bears on this one. I'm slightly leaning towards Ravens because they're coming out of the bye. They're coming off a fresh game plan that they had for 2 weeks against the Bears. They're getting Roquan Smith back. That's a huge addition. That's going to be a revenge game for him, as we shipped him out for a second-round pick so we can sign Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, doing the old Moneyball tactic of they can get this many tackles together, it equals what Roquan does. But yeah, I'm going to lean Ravens on this one. I think just too much momentum coming back with the Bears is going to help us. But with the Ravens having the 2-week bye, I think that they're going to be a little too well schemed against us. With, Harbaugh doing the coach talk of avoiding questions of whether Lamar Jackson is going to play or not. I think it's pretty obvious he is going to show up for this game. They're 1-5. Their season's at stake. This is a team who's absolutely desperate for a win. We're coming off of a high of 4 wins in a row. This can be that game that shocks us, and I hope that we can bounce back from it. But at the beginning of the year, we all chalked this up as an L to the Ravens anyways. So if the Bears lose, I don't care. I think we'll be just fine. If they somehow manage to win this, then they need to give us more respect and stop saying that we won the 4 easiest games in the league, because the Commanders are not a pushover with the Jaden Daniels. But yeah, I'm going to lean Ravens on this one. We'll jump into the next game. We got Browns versus Patriots. I got Patriots in this one. It's going to be a low-scoring, boring-ass game. The Browns' defense is legit. Dylan Gabriel's going to throw the ball a lot for no completions and little to no yards. But the Patriots have been steamrolling everybody. Again, I read off their schedule the last video, and they have a cakewalk of a schedule. I expect them to handle business as usual. Low-scoring game, probably 17-10, 17-13. But I got Patriots walking out of this victorious.
Drake May. He's the good quarterback on the field. Yeah, the Browns suck, man. Like, it's a dysfunctional franchise. They're up there from the worst ran franchises of all time. They are arguably even worse than the Jets still. Those two are definitely up there for most incompetent organizations in sports in general, not just the NFL, but sports in general. Even if I know it's getting to the point where we'll probably see Shador Sanders here soon, but I don't think it does anything for this team. I don't think anyone's bought into this organization. No one from the top. It's what stems from the top down with the Browns. They're just a mess, a dumpster fire. I have seen rumors lately from Shefty and other people that the Browns are starting to make everyone pretty much available at this point. So we could probably see someone like Denzel Ward on the move. Other guys like that, Grant Delpit could be on the move. A lot of changes becoming to this organization. They're probably going to blow it up and rebuild with either Shador at Gabriel at the helm going forward. But with that being said, it is Patriots all day. Drake May is playing in rhythm. He's probably the hottest quarterback in the NFL right now, in all honesty.
Yeah.
And Mike Vrabel is just the best coach out of the system, out of the game.
Yeah. Next, we got the Bills versus the Panthers. I'll let you take this one.
I got the Bills coming off a bye week. I think they'll get back to getting James Cook a lot more involved. Andy Dalton is the quarterback on the other end. I love you, Red Rifle. You're my guy, but this is a bad game to play for you. Because I think the Bills are going to come out and kind of make a get-right game and a bounce back. I see this one being a lot to little, honestly. I can see this one being 31-10, 34-10 type of range. But yeah, Bills all the way.
Yeah, I got Bills on this one. I mean, it's one of those games where it's like you can almost smell an upset possibly, but in reality, just go with your gut, go with the favorite. The Bills are going to win this. They're a lot more talented. They're a lot better coached. They have a way better quarterback at the helm. Bills, a lot to a little, like you said. So we'll move off that one. Dolphins versus the Falcons next. I'll let you go on this one.
This is actually pretty tough because Kirk Cousins is playing this week for the Falcons. He hasn't played football in a while. I'm very curious to see how he plays because I know he was pretty mad about getting benched last year for Penix. especially after the Falcons paid him all that money. Just another poorly ran organization in general too.
Yep.
But the Dolphins are probably the biggest outside of the Jets. They are the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL right now. It might be Quinn Ewers playing this week because Mike McDaniel seems to hate Tua at this point. And Mike McDaniel's probably get fired. I don't know how he still has a job right now. Like, I really don't know how he still has a job at this moment in time. I'm gonna go with the Falcons and Kirk Cousins on this one. I say this is a game where Kirk Cousins actually balls out, and this is where we start seeing teams make calls for Kirk Cousins to come over and help them out.
Yeah.
So Falcons.
I got Falcons on this one. I think the organization with the Dolphins right now is just complete turmoil right now, and I just don't see how they get right and they try to prove themselves or anything like that. I think this is a team that just completely shut down for the season. They might pick up a game or two here and there, but that's about it. Like, I don't see them beating the Falcons. I think Kirk Cousins, when he needs to be, I think he is a better quarterback than Michael Penix. I think this offense will move a little bit further down the field on most drives. It might not end up in a lot more points, but they'll for sure make a lot longer sustained drives. I got Falcons in this one narrowly, probably like 21-17, 24-17. But yeah, I got Falcons on that one. And then next we got Bucks versus Saints. I'll go first on this one. The Bucks losing Mike Evans last game is pretty rough for them due to a concussion and broken collarbone, likely to miss most of the season at this point. So unfortunately, that's going to end his consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards or more. Shout out to him, legendary career, Hall of Fame player in the future. But at this point, they're throwing to Tez Johnson, Cam Johnson, anybody named Johnson, and some white guy named Kate Otten. But I expect the Bucks to still come out of this victorious. I think the Saints are playing competitive football. I know that Spencer Rattler against my Chicago Bears had his worst game of the season so far, but I do expect him to get right. I think he does protect the ball a lot more this game, but it's going to be hard against the Buccaneers when they're starting to get more healthy on defense. Their O-line is starting to get healthy as well. Unfortunately, they just can't keep a receiver healthy at this point, with Godwin getting rushed back and just re-injuring his fibula. But yeah, I still got Bucks narrowly on this one. Division matchup, it should be competitive, but I still got the Buccaneers probably 28-24 on this one.
I got the Saints in this one. I just think the Bucks are too banged up on the offensive side of the ball right now. And there's a lot of frustration in the players after that game against the Lions. And that was just, I think that was like kind of like a deflating game for them, losing Mike Evans and then losing the way they lost. I just expect Spencer Rattler to have a bounce back game this week. Like you said, protect the ball a lot. I think Alvin Kamara will get used in this game a lot for some reason. I just have a feeling. And like you said, it's a division game right before the bye. The Bucks are probably looking forward to the bye week at this point. And for that reason, I have the Saints and Spencer Rattler getting it done. I say probably a low scoring affair. I have probably like 17-14, 17-10 type of game. But yeah, I'm going to take the New Orleans Fighting Spencer Rattlers against the Tampa Bay Baker Mayfields.
Only the second split so far. So we'll jump into the next game. We got the Cowboys versus the Broncos.
I'll go first.
Yeah. Go ahead and take it.
Give me the Broncos by a lot. The Cowboys have notoriously never been able to beat the Denver Broncos in general. Pat Surtain or CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, welcome to the Pat Surtain Penitentiary. You have 60 minutes of hell coming your way. But yeah, this Denver defense is too good. I think we'll see this is a game where the Cowboys have a tendency. One thing the Cowboys do, and it's been a thing with them this year, they have really high highs, and they just go on immediate low the very next game. I can see that happening in this game. I just think that Denver defense is too good. I do think that I think coming off the win that they had last week against the Giants, they are going to be a completely different team than what we've seen the last few weeks. And I do think with the Cowboys having such a terrible defense, this is the game where I talked about it on last episode. This is the game where Sean Payton takes out the training wheels off of Bo Nix and lets him play like Bo Nix. I got it 31-17 Denver.
Ooh, okay. I narrowly got Broncos in this one as well. I hope to see Bo Nix show up more than just one quarter of football. I hope I can see him put together a full game, at least at this point in the season and not just at the tail end of every season. Cowboys defense is still atrocious no matter what. It doesn't matter if they've had a couple of games where they looked decent. They just still have a bad defense. The personnel is not the right one there. Their defense coordinator is not the right one to pick. I still got Broncos winning slightly. I just don't think it's going to be as high scoring as most people think. I probably think it's going to be 21-17 Broncos. I think it's going to be, like you said, Pat Surtain penitentiary, locking up CeeDee Lamb to what he could. So it's going to be George Pickens on the other side. But again, he's just a deep threat guy. You know, he's going to have to make those tough catches to get him down the field. I think that Javonte Williams is finally going to get swallowed up, even though it is a revenge game for him. I think he's going to get swallowed up by that Broncos defense. So yeah, I got Broncos on this one. We'll jump into our next game. We got the Titans versus the Colts in an AFC South showdown. Who do you got on this one?
Colts. Titans suck. They're terrible. Just Colts.
Yeah.
Next. Go ahead.
Yeah. Colts for me as well. Titans suck. Moving on to the next game. Packers versus the Steelers.
I'll let you go first.
This one's hard for me. I think that the Steelers are actually going to take this one. Aaron Rodgers' revenge game against the Packers. I think that he's going to show up and show out. I don't think it's going to be like a 400-yard, 3-touchdown game or anything like that. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to do 250 plus and 2 touchdowns, possibly an interception. But I don't think Jordan Love is going to do much against the Steelers defense, who hasn't been that great this year. They've been more of like a middle of the pack to upper middle of the pack kind of defense this year. But I just don't trust this Packers receiving core, as we've talked about previously. Like, they just have nothing but number 2s and number 3s, not a consistent target that you can rely on other than Tucker Kraft. And the linebacking core with the Steelers, I think that they can hold Tucker Kraft at least to a reasonable 5-6 catches for like 50 yards. I don't think he's going to have one of his games where he blows up for 150, 120 yards receiving and a touchdown. So I got Steelers in this one, probably 28-21.
As a Tucker Kraft fantasy owner, I need about 10 receptions and 150 yards and a tutty. And a tutty, maybe 2. That's wishful thinking. I got the Steelers as well. Revenge game for Aaron Rodgers. They're coming out a tough loss to the Bengals. They had 10 days of rest with the mini bye here, and I just don't think the Packers have looked that good. I've been calling them frauds all year. I still think they are fraudulent. The only thing that kind of sucks for the Packers, though, if you're a Packers fan, is I think a lot of Packers fans, even though they're not playing their best ball, and it's due to lack of weapons on the outside. The concern I have as a Packers fan right now is if the season doesn't get better, Matt LaFleur is going to get scapegoated on this one 100%. And that's a coach you do not want to let go of, in my opinion. I even as an Eagles fan, like, Matt LaFleur can be an OC for a year. Take it, because our OC. Oh yeah, but yeah, it's looking bad right now if they don't figure it out. I know they have a winning record, but I know for a fact that Matt LaFleur is not happy with the way they've been winning, for sure. But I do have the Steelers in this one overall. Like I said, they're coming off a mini bye, tough loss. Packers coming off a grinding out game against the Cardinals and Jacoby Brissett. I said that in 2025. Aaron Rodgers, big game here. I say like 28-21, 28-24 type of game for the Steelers here. I think Micah Parsons gets mitigated this game. I actually expect a big game here out of TJ Watt, in all honesty.
I do too. And then before we jump into our Monday Night Football game, we are recording this live with the Thursday night game being played right now between the Chargers and the Minnesota Vikings. The Chargers are whipping that ass right now.
Game sucks.
I have a public service announcement right now. It is official that Quentin Johnston is sleeping with Madison Beer because Justin Herbert has not targeted him in 3 quarters of a football game. This dude started off as the number 1 receiver on that team by a mile, followed by Keenan Allen, followed by everyone else, and then Ladd McConkey. And it flipped completely because right now, Quentin Johnston is not getting a single target. So he must be sleeping with Madison Beer. I don't know, maybe with Justin Herbert's mom. I don't know, something. But all jokes aside, we'll jump into Monday Night Football. We got Commanders versus Chiefs in the first week without a damn doubleheader. Thank you, Lord. Who do you got in this one?
I got the Chiefs. No Jaden Daniels. The Commanders have like a senior citizen home at like their skills positions with Zach Ertz and Deebo Samuel. This would have been a great team in 2019. Was 2025. You don't have your quarterback. You haven't looked like the Commanders of last year. You haven't caught lightning in the bottle twice. The Chiefs are playing red hot right now. I expect it to be a blowout. Marcus Mariota, he's a good backup to have. In all honesty, he's probably one of the better backups in the NFL. But with the way the Chiefs are playing right now, I don't see him really doing much. I got the Chiefs probably somewhere in the realm of like 24-7, 24-6, maybe even higher than that. But it's not going to be a competitive game, in my opinion, at all. It should
I
be
agree
flexed
with
out.
you.
It should be flexed out, in all honesty.
Yeah, I agree with you. Chiefs are going to win this game probably convincingly, unless Mariota has some kind of magic, some Oregon magic coming out. But in all honesty, I think the Commanders, they just don't have enough right now. They've lost a lot of pieces. Real conversation needs to start being had about Jaden Daniels' health. Too scrawny at the quarterback position, giggling and laughing the whole game, but then he gets rocked in one play and then he's out for another 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So a conversation needs to be had about his health at this point. Wide receivers, I think they might be getting Terry McLaurin back, but again, it's a 30-year-old Terry McLaurin coming off a hamstring or quad injury, who's what's kept him out of most of the season at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, Mariota against the Chiefs defense, I'm not liking that matchup. Pat Mahomes, who's been hot this whole season, against the Commanders' abysmal defense. Yeah, Chiefs a lot, Commanders very little. All right, and for our next topic, we got possible coaches being fired this year. So the next coach that's going to be out. So I'm going to start off the list, and then I'm going to let Darren chime in, and then I'm going to give my little 2 cents right after. But we're going to start off with Aaron Glenn of the New York Jets. Do you think that he's likely to get fired this season?
I think he is a one and done. He just wasn't given a good roster to begin with, but he also didn't establish a culture. They brought in Justin Fields on a 2-year, $40 million deal. I do think Justin Fields was one of those quarterbacks that I am out on him being a franchise guy, but I do think he's capable of being your bridge quarterback to get you through like a solid year or two. They just have he's been failed with this organization, in all honesty. You brought in a play caller who's not playing to Justin Fields' strengths. He's not using Justin Fields in the run game the way he should be. You're not using quick passes with Garrett Wilson. It's really just poor play calling. And it doesn't look like Aaron Glenn's really established the culture there, in all honesty. We saw Woody Johnson, the owner, talking bad about the coach already, talking about how bad the quarterback room is. So with this situation, I'm 100% with Aaron Glenn being one and done. He was just unfortunately put into like the worst situation possible. Lack of talent, and an owner who's impatient and just on a short leash.
Yeah, this is again incompetent ass franchise. Like you got the owner on Twitter going to Twitter and talking shit about your starting quarterback and your head coach. Like it's just not a good look. This is why I prayed up and down, not because I have foresight, not because I could see the future, but I pray that the Bears would not entertain this idea of hiring Aaron Glenn. There was a Ben Johnson on the market, and I said, please go get Ben Johnson and do not look at any other defensive coordinator or any other coaching candidate for that matter. When you hire a defensive-minded coach, you better have the top 5 best defense in the league that following year. And not only that, you need to nail the offensive coordinator hire. And this is where I think that it's such a hard thing. You got to find a leader of men that is also a great play caller. And that's hard enough to find as it is. Usually these offensive coordinators are just a bunch of, little computer dorks, analytic nerds, whatever they want to call it. So when you need those guys to be a leader, man, it's kind of hard. And I'm liking what I see from Ben Johnson so far. But from Aaron Glenn, he can't lead this locker room. Again, bad franchise, bad organization, bad roster. He didn't have a chance to begin with, and it sucks. Again, I wish that Justin Fields went into a better situation to start his NFL career. I wish he went into a better situation with the second team, and I wish he would have gone into a better situation with his third franchise. It looks like that he's going to end up being just another, just journeyman, unfortunately, at this point. I think that after this, he's just going to end up being a backup for the rest of his career. It's going to be one of those great what-if stories that, had he gone to this team, had he gone to that team, maybe he would have turned out better. But Aaron Glenn fired by this season, one and done, like you said. Next coach we got, and I think this is going to be an easy one, is Mike McDaniels.
Oh, deep fried. He's gone. He's done. This locker room is gone. Him and Tua can't get on the same page. Like I said earlier in prediction when we were doing our predictions, I don't even know how he still has his job currently. I don't know if they're waiting for the bye week, if they're waiting to the end of the season, but he's done. Where the Dolphins go moving forward from here, it's gonna be a blow it up rebuild. If I was a team like the Broncos, um, I was the Patriots. If I was teams like that, I'd be making all the calls in the world right now to try to acquire a Jalen Waddle. Because this one it's going to look like a full rebuild. I'd be calling about Jalen Waddle if I was those teams. If I was a lot of teams, I'd be calling to make some moves up from these Dolphins players because they're going to blow it up at the end of the year. Mike McDaniels, you are a Philadelphia Eagle OC next year. Welcome, go Birds. You suck as a head coach, though.
Yeah. And this is what I talk about with the OCs needing to be a leader of men as well as the analytic nerds. Great play caller, just can't lead a football team. They hit lightning in a bottle that first year when he came in, and they're running all these crazy trick plays. He gets away from that. They don't look that great. You had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle for a handful of years, and you did not a lot with them. You've been inconsistent at best, and you've gradually gone worse and worse as every season has gone by. Throw him in the oven at 350 for 45 minutes. This dude is cooked, burnt. He's done. He needs to get out. Going to be a great OC with a great head coach somewhere else, but it's not going to be here in Miami, unfortunately. I do hope that the Buffalo Bills actually call for a Jalen Waddle, speaking of. But yeah, Mike McDaniels, get the F out of here. You're cooked. All right, next we got is Raheem Morris for the Atlanta Falcons. What do you think about him?
It's a tough one, man. That defense isn't playing bad. He's a defensive-minded guy. My thing is the inconsistencies of the offense right now. With that much talent, is it the OC? Is it a coaching issue? Did you pull the trigger too early on Michael Penix? Would he have been better off seeing a full year behind Kirk Cousins? I know Kirk Cousins wasn't playing the best, but if you gave Kirk Cousins that much money to begin with, you should have just let him ride out the whole year, take it for what it is, and give Michael Penix a full year to just sit and learn. And you kind of threw him into the fire. I think Raheem Morris is not on the hot seat as of right now, but that could change by the end of the season.
Yeah, and then with Raheem Morris of the Atlanta Falcons, again, defensive-minded coach. He's had a middle of the pack to lower echelon type of defense for most of his career with Atlanta Falcons. And this year, I think statistically they're actually ranked up there in the top 10. Again, that's probably due to the talent that they've been playing. Again, you can't control who you play on your schedule, but it's kind of inflated stats at this point. They held Carolina to 0 points for 1 week, and that's going to help. It's going to be one of those games where Bears get 51 put on their head. Looks like we have the worst defense in the league. We have 4 weeks of great football put together. We still look like a middle of the pack defense, even with 4 great weeks. Regardless, Raheem Morris with 4 first round picks that were drafted in the top 10 with Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Michael Penix, and you still can't get anything out of this offense. I know some of that was Arthur Smith prior, but regardless, you guys got to get something out of this offense. Drake London, a 1,400-yard receiver last year, looked great, but the team in all didn't look that well. Hopefully Kirk Cousins coming into this game can help elevate the offense a little bit with the passing attack. I expect Bijan, who looks like the best running back in football right now, to execute everything just as well. But Raheem Morris, I say give it another year. I think he's safe for now, but I think his seat's pretty warm. Moving on to the next coach, we got DeMeco Ryans of the Texans. This should be an interesting one. I'll let you go. I
actually think he's pretty safe. Like I said earlier, that defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense. It's not the GM. I think the GM's gonna be going to get fired here. Actually, not Raheem or not DeMeco Ryans. That offensive line is atrocious. You traded Laremy Tunsil, your best O lineman. Whatever reason, you traded your best O lineman. Yeah, you just made it worse. Your draft picks haven't panned out at the wide receiver position outside of Nico Collins. Joe Mixon still isn't healthy. We don't even know if he's going to come back at all this year, in all honesty. Nick Chubb and Woody Marks are doing what they can, but they're getting hit in the backfield to want to get the ball because of how bad that line is. Overall, D'Amico Ryans, I do think that this team has bought into the culture he has set. Like I said, that defense is playing Super Bowl caliber defense. There's going to help with the offense, but I do think D'Amico Ryans is 100% safe.
Yeah, I think D'Amico Ryans is safe. You know, that lightning in a bottle season that they hit his first year where they made it to that playoff run behind CJ Stroud and, you know, that great defense that they've had since. I think he's safe for now. I think the seat's getting a little warm. But again, yeah, I agree with you on the GM aspect. I think that this GM is just awful. I think he made a great move to move up in that draft to get CJ Stroud and then as well draft Will Anderson in the top 4 picks.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, other than that, great signings. You know, this guy should be a scout talent, something like that. Or I'm sorry, a talent scout. But to be in charge of personnel, especially when it comes to O-line, I don't like his picks. I like Ariante Ursary, but one O-lineman can't make up the entire O-line when there's 5 people there.
Cannot.
Moving on to the next person, we got Jonathan Gannon. I'll let you go on this one.
This one is interesting for me because as an Eagles fan, I don't even think he should have been a head coach because he did such a poor job in the Super Bowl the year that we made it, that we lost to the Chiefs in 2023. I don't think he's deserving of the job, but he's also been dealt like not the worst hand possible. Again, this is a situation where I think the GM is actually not doing a bad job here. They drafted pretty well. I think it's a Kyler Murray issue at this point. You have a quarterback who is not fully bought into the game of football. If I was this team, I'd definitely be looking to move off of Kyler Murray. Honestly, if I was this team, I'd be calling the Jets saying, hey, we'll give you K1 for Justin Fields, just to have Justin Fields be that bridge guy. And you don't have anything to lose. You get off of a bad Kyler Murray contract. You bring in Justin Fields, who's on a 2-year deal. You could draft a quarterback either this year or next year. And just kind of see where it goes from there. I'm lukewarm on Jonathan Gannon as of right now. I think he gets one more year, maybe a year without Kyler Murray he'll get. But the seat is getting kind of hot there in Arizona. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of him this offseason, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they did keep him.
Yeah, I agree with you on Jonathan Gannon. I think his seat is getting warm, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another year after this. Kyler Murray, again, like you said, he's not bought into football. You can just tell this dude cares more about his kill to death ratio on Warzone than he cares about winning football games. You know, we said it in one of the first episodes, like maybe he should have just played baseball at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe the Arizona Cardinals failed him. I don't know. Whatever it was, this dude just doesn't want to play football. You can just tell that there's no inspiration behind him. He can't lead a group of men. And at the quarterback position, that's where you want some of your biggest leaders, the middle linebacker, your quarterback, a safety. You know, I feel horrible for Budda Baker at this point, who's just so sick of losing. Like ever since that one viral clip of him just having that losing season, they haven't had a winning season since. So I think they've drafted pretty well. I like Paris Johnson at tackle. You know, I love a lot of the recent picks that they've gotten, and it doesn't matter. Like, I think that this GM is doing everything he can. I don't think Jonathan Gannon's a great coach. I'm not going to say he's the coach of the future, but for right now, I think his seat's warm. I wouldn't doubt it if they keep him. So I think he's safe for right now. Moving into the next coach, we got Kevin Stefanski of the Browns. So I'll start off this one real quick because I just want to throw in something. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think it's a dog shit organization, probably the worst in all of sports. Doesn't matter. Name them. Maybe the Oakland A's are going to give him competition, but
the Jets.
That's another one. But, you know, they just had too much talent on this roster for his entire tenure for them to just be bottom of the pack kind of team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they need to get rid of him. I think they need to start fresh from every aspect. I think they need to get rid of their GM. I think they need to get rid of the coach. I think they need someone who's going to come in and either 1000% hedge his bets on Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. I don't think they need to go into this draft thinking that they don't have the quarterback on their roster. I think they need somebody to come in and believe in one of these young quarterbacks. And then granted, if they do have a fire sale, then have a coach with the mind and a GM of the mind that it's going to be a rebuild and it's going to take years, you know. And the only people I think they're going to be safe at this point if they have a fire sale is going to be Myles Garrett and Quinshon Judkins
Mhm.
and the quarterbacks that they just drafted this last year. Other than that, I think anybody else can go. I know they gave Jerry Judy that contract, so possibly him. But at this point, take a pick, grab whoever you want. If the price is right, you can have him. But yeah, I think Kevin Stefanski's out after this year.
I think he's out too. He has been dealt a bad hand. You had Baker Mayfield at one point. You guys got rid of him. But he's had so many chances at this point, and he's riding with Dylan Gabriel. The owner wants Shador to be playing, and he's really going against that. So he's butting heads with the owner at this point. He'll be gone this year. At the end of this year, might not make it through the whole season. I say if we don't, I say whenever Shador gets to play, that's when Kevin Stefanski is also gone at that moment because he's not a fan of Shador. He didn't want to draft Shador. So he's definitely on his way out for sure. I think he's probably. I think him and Mike McDaniels are the most 100% gone on this list that we're talking about. Kevin Stefanski is probably going to go be a great OC somewhere next year. Look for him for whoever the Titans hire. I would probably pick him to be the OC of that team to try to build up a Cam Ward. In all honesty, you could come to the Eagles. We have a Kevin. His last name's Petula, though, and he stinks. You might be able to help us. But I could see him being a great OC somewhere next year. He'll probably go somewhere being OC for 2 years, make offenses look really good, get another head coaching job somewhere else. Stefanski, you've kind of just been dealt a bad hand. Coaching the Browns is just not a fun time, probably up there with the Jets, I feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, like you also kind of dug your own grave by butting heads with the owner with the whole Shador Sanders thing. I know I'm not very high on Shador Sanders, but you're coaching for your job at this point, dude. You got to do whatever it takes.
I agree. And then the final coach that we have on this list is Brian Daboll. And I'm going to go first on this one because I know you're probably going to have a lot to say about your division rival. I think Brian Daboll is the epitome of that OC, the hot OC that just left a little too soon. Like you see someone like Ben Johnson, not to toot the Bears horn or anything like that, but he took an extra year where he easily could have been one of the top head coach candidates in the offseason prior. But he chose to come back and try to do something right with the Lions. They still couldn't make it to the Super Bowl and win one. And then he finally decided it is his time. And I feel like that extra year helped him develop into what he was going to become, which was a head coach. I feel like Brian Daboll needed to wait another year or two before he just jumped at the Giants organization. I feel like it's just one of those things. Like I can imagine that feeling of I can become the head coach. I can run everything. I can take charge of practices and have a say in who we draft and this and that. But you can tell since he got there, he didn't believe in Daniel Jones, who was already a broken quarterback at that point, who looks amazing for the Indianapolis Colts right now. So that goes a lot to say about their organization versus the Giants. But I think this dude just took the job opportunity way too quick. Didn't have the best roster when he got there. Had that lightning in a bottle season where Daniel Jones balled out for a little bit, gave him that $140 million contract, damn near robbed a bank on that one. But yeah, I just think that the team is finally rebuilt or is rebuilding, like closer on the end of rebuilt. But I just don't think they're going to do enough this year with the young talent that they have. And then, of course, losing Malik Neighbors is tremendously horrible for this team. But definitely. I think Brian Daboll, if the Giants finish sub 500, I think he's definitely out. I think that this organization and the GM with the coach, I think they're finally just done with those two. And I think that they're going to start fresh with what looks to be a promising quarterback in Jackson Dart.
I think Brian Daboll gets one more year. Now that he has Jackson Dart there, I think he gets one more year to see what he could do with this quarterback. If they've won some weird games, they lost some tough games, defensive calling definitely lost in the last game against the Broncos, but also a lot of that's on Brian Daboll. You're in a situation where you're also coaching for your job. That's why he made the switch so quick to Jackson Dart and benching Russ right away. Like I said, I do think he gets one more year with Jackson Dart. And plus, the other reason I think it's another year is this is going to be a chaotic offseason for the coaching carousel. We talked about a ton of coaches that might get fired. There's only two on this list that probably keep their job. Raheem Morris and DeMeco Ryans are the most likely to keep their jobs. maybe Jonathan Gannon, but he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door, I think, when it comes to firing. But I don't see many options for the places for the Giants to go after this. As far as the head coaching hire, I can see Brian Daboll staying, like I said, 1 more year, but he needs to nail the defensive coordinator hire this upcoming offseason. He needs to
Yes.
really nail that because you have arguably the most talented defensive line in all of football. So there's no reason why you shouldn't not be getting done with your front four and just dropping everyone else in the coverage if you have to. That front four is that good to do that. But yeah, I definitely think he is. It's lukewarm. It's a Jonathan Gannon situation where if he gets fired at the end of this year, I wouldn't be surprised. But they keep him another year, I also wouldn't be surprised just because I think the Giants will. They don't want to fail Jackson Dart in a sense, so I can see them keeping him 1 more year.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
All right, guys, we got Shoei slate today. I didn't give you guys one on Tuesday. I just didn't. The Thursday night game was buns, dude. I didn't want to put any bread on that game. So we got a 2-man and a 4-man. Bet at your own risk. Again, guys, we are not affiliated with any of these betting sites. I'm going based off of where I think the Lions are the best. I got a 2-man and a 4-man, one on Better Picks, one on Underdog. The 2-man is on Better Picks. I have Cortland Sutton for rushing or receiving touchdown. And then I have DeAndre Swift over 55.5 rushing yards for the 2-man.
I like that.
And then for the 4-man, this one is on Underdog, guys. Again, we are not affiliated with these companies. This is where I think the best odds are. I have Cam Ward to throw an interception. As Spencer Rattler over 211.5 passing yards. He has gone pretty much over that every week that he's played. And I think this would be a game where he does throw the ball a lot. I have Jamar Chase over 10.5 targets. We saw he got 23 targets last week. I would not expect to have anything less than 15 probably. So Jamar Chase over 10.5 targets. And then I have Devontae Smith over 6.5 targets. He had a great game last week. AJ Brown might be out this week. It's looking like he didn't practice yesterday or today. So if he does go on Sunday, it could be a limited role. So Devontae Smith over 6.5 targets. If you guys don't like the Devontae Smith line, I would wait till Sunday and take Jahan Dotson over receiving yards because his line will probably be like at 20 or something like that. And if there is no AJ Brown, he will hammer the over on that.
Yeah, I like him. So get those plays cashed out, get some money in your pockets. But other than that, that's all we got for you guys.
And I am not Terry Rozier. I will not sell you on these. You know what I'm saying.
We got
Shout out Chauncey Billups.
We got an NBA Rico case before a Joel Embiid finals appearance
for GTA 6.
Yeah. But
I hate it here.
That's it. That's all we got for you guys. I appreciate y'all stopping in again. Darren, do you want to say anything to the people before we go?
Just stay tuned for TikTok and Reels, guys. We are actually start cranking out a lot more content on there. It has become a focus. It will become a focus for us. So start seeing maybe at least 2 times a week. We're going to be posting on there on Reels and TikTok. So keep an eye out on that. We love the support on there as well. You guys have been amazing. Again, next week we will have the normal show on Tuesday. We're recording on Tuesday. That will be out on Wednesday or Thursday. Elias will be gone next Thursday. So you guys will see me with a guest. And then the following week, I will be gone that Thursday, and Elias will have a guest with him as well. And if you guys could think of any content that you guys want us to make for either here or on Reels or stuff to talk about, put in the comments below or message us on Instagram. We're receptive to feedback and ideas for topics. We'll probably go into NBA more next week. I want to get this first week of games out of the way. I know the Thunder and Rockets had a phenomenal game the other night, but our priority is to be football just because it is in the middle of the season right now. It's at an all-time high. But the one thing I will say that I want you guys to look out for, and at least get tested this, he'll be cranking out his own individual videos for fantasy football soon, and I'll be covering college football soon as well. Those will be individual uploads on here, probably about 5 to 10 minute videos. He's very passionate about fantasy football. I love college football. There's different stuff I want to cover on there as well, guys. So again, any more feedback, please DM us, let us know if you guys want other topics, or we're receptive to all of it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys again for stopping in. That's Fourth and Clutch.
We out.